Well, I'll start off with just a few of the things that I know about you and the reasons why I've brought you here. Besides the physical escalation drills we'll do later. So he and I met in like 2008, I think in September.
Fall of 2008.
Yeah, and at that time
you just moved here.
You were really young. Yeah, I just moved here.
Yeah.
And when you signed up for a one-on-one weekend.
Yeah.
And so it was all normal. I mean, you paid the thing. But then I saw, once you sent in your pre-programmed questionnaire, that you were only 18 then?
Yeah, so 18.
18.
Yeah.
I had just been burned 2 or 3 months previous by a guy who was 18 who used his mom or dad's credit card. And then the parents had the charges reversed. So then I was like, okay, I'll meet him, but then I won't, I'll just give him the initial meeting and then I'll refund the money. And then when I came, you were there, and I thought, okay, you don't act like the average 18-year-old. And I asked you, was this your money? And you said, yeah, it's my own. And so then I thought, okay, the chances of the charges getting reversed don't seem to be very high here. And then the more I got to know you, the more I felt that you were very mature for your age. So that stood you in good. That gave you a head start in many ways, but then you're also your verbal acuity, for lack of a better word, was one of your strengths. I mean, that was one thing that I really admired. I mean, it was really fun hanging out with you because you were always able to just flow as far as what you were saying with girls. Like, I remember the second night we were at Clark Key, and one of our warm-ups turned into this stand-up comedy act for 3 girls at Haagen-Dazs who then bought us ice cream.
Wait, no. They never bought me ice cream.
Well, they bought me ice cream
because I was somewhere else with the other one. And then the other one bought you ice cream.
Right. They bought me ice cream. And
then the girl came back to buy me ice cream and it was closed.
Right. Then they were closed. Right. Because we were entertaining them for so long. So then that was in 2008, and now it's 2011. 2.5 or so years, and a lot has changed. And you're kind of, last time I visited China, just from what you've told me about it. So after Singapore, you moved up to Beijing to help with your dad's business there.
Learn Mandarin.
And learn Mandarin.
Actually speak
extensively. Right. Right. For learning. But you were enrolled at
Beida.
Okay.
Beijing University.
Right. And I hooked you up with a couple guys here, but it seemed like you had, one of the first decisions you made was to live next to the club.
Yes. Well, I met, remember?
Right.
And it so happened that I was looking for an apartment in Sanlitun, which is the clubbing district in Beijing. And the landlord said, oh, well, there's an apartment right next to him a couple of months.
Right. So, but then unfortunately you had to move over to the school area.
The gay bar.
On the other
side. I used to live on top of a gay bar.
That
was my,
The gay bar was across the street from...
No, it was next door, across
the
street from
row
the
across the street from the best supper place, and then a row of clubs, like 6 clubs in a row. And then that was one whole block full of the biggest clubs in town. So that's sort of a background about you. Why don't you, is there anything that you want to add to fill us in on what you've been doing since then?
No, I mean, I'm back here visiting, so...
Okay, so then you left China, and now you are... What have you been doing?
I'm on holiday. This is my garden leave.
Right. Well, you were setting up... So the work that you did wasn't just learning Chinese.
Yeah.
But you were... what exactly were you doing?
We do wealth management. So I was doing this and that around China.
Right. And you were in Beijing and Shanghai.
University again, so...
Okay, so before you went... So you haven't done your undergraduate yet, and then... You were just, it was just an English.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're going in October to England, to Oxford.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, one thing I wanted to ask you was, we had a class on Chinese society, or Singaporean society, and one of the aspects of that class was the effect of Chinese culture on Singapore society, because there's a common criticism, or objection, I should say, an objection that I get at free seminars and just by email and even from some Aura Academy members at the beginning, anyway, is that the question is always worded in this way. It's do these Western materials work on Singaporean women? And part of where that's coming from is that there's this perception that Singaporeans are a certain way. And one of the characteristics of local Singaporeans is that they have defer to authority, that they obey their parents, that they live at home till they're 35, that they're, what are some of these others? That they're communitarian, and that they place a large emphasis on harmony in society. So what I was saying was that if everybody had that, then there would be no society. Because you can't defer to an authority unless there's an authority.
Is an authority.
So the guy who's in authority did not play according to those rules of deferring to himself.
I think that's true anywhere. I think in Asia, society can be a bit more by the book. The social structures are a bit stronger here, or the social sort of requirements, which can be a bit looser elsewhere. But I mean, everyone everywhere we're all people, and we're all guided by the exact same psychological principles. Right. The principles of why we do what we do are the same everywhere. It's just the calibration sometimes needs to be a bit different. How you approach different situations varies based on the person, where they're from, where you're at. Like you were mentioning earlier, the venue you're at plays such a big factor in what you do. But the principles are exactly the same, no matter where you are, no matter who you're talking to.
Right.
I don't think that ever changes.
So, teaching at NUS, I had a lot of exposure to the intellectual elite of that age group in Singapore. And what I found was, a very disappointing passivity. And this lack. So, one of the strengths of Chinese philosophers in history is that they place an emphasis on, not on let's get along with everybody, but instead follow your heart. Even if the emperor says do X, but your heart says do Y, do Y. And what they were saying, then I got these students saying, well, if everybody did what they wanted, then what would happen to society? And I thought, oh my God, are you here because your mom told you and you don't want to be here?
So Confucius always said everything in moderation, including moderation itself, right?
You mentioned to me something about the education that you were exposed to in Singapore and how it was different in some ways. Like the elite are taught in a different way. They're given different principles. Do you remember some of those?
Yeah. I think it's unfortunate that I'm sure many of you have gone through the Singapore education system. You're streamed very early on. I spent like 6 years in primary school here, and then I went to international school. But even before that, you're in that program where you get streamed based on your ability. You get put to special classes with special teachers, different funding. You're taught differently. Later on in the army, some people become officers, and some people become the people who shoot things when the officers tell them to shoot things. And I guess that, unfortunately, just reinforces that whole mentality, when really it needn't be. And like you said, in every society there are people who lead and people who do the following. So
I noticed an almost sense of it.
In a sense, I guess it's almost like the class structure you get in, say, England, that people say, oh, I've been born into it, like it's tough, there's nothing you can do. I find a lot of people say, oh, well, I didn't quite make it when I was young in primary school, I didn't get into the right secondary school, and so now I just can't make it anymore.
Right.
Which is sad, I think.
Right. Anyway. Yeah, so anytime you stream society early, you're going to get into this problem. I noticed that the way that you interact with people, and especially with women, because that's the one I paid attention to the most, is that you almost... So when we first did the boot camp, there was a question that you had about, how do I transition from this high energy vibe, which is entertaining and dominating, to a slow, seductive tonality and so forth. So I remember at MOS, I showed you how you verbally, through your tonality, you could make that transition. And then you just went out there and you just did it. Because I remember the following weekend, or one of the weekends subsequent, we were hanging out with some people at a KTV room. And you were doing it on these girls there. like 2 or 3 of them, and I saw it happen. There you go. There it happened. And you did it during the boot camp weekend. So one of the principles I saw that you applied pretty quickly, I think that just you had understood as part of your education, was a sense of entitlement. I mean, it gave you that it was sort of like, I don't need to get permission to take what I want. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
I guess. I mean, you learn it, you try it. I find a lot of people, especially when it comes to this, they can be a bit hesitant.
Right.
I guess because it's a bit more personal, right? Everything is its feedback on you. You're involved. It's not just a laboratory experiment. But that's what people say. Like, if you're like a scientist, and it's just like a science experiment, you go in there, you take a few variables, you try again. It's such a different mindset.
Right.
And like, I mean, scientists who are very happy to do experiments and who are so, I guess, not rational, but they're very strict into their experiments. They try something doesn't work, they try it again until it works, and they're very outcome, independent.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they tried something and did work. It's not their fault. That's the whole point of doing experiments, to find what does work.
Right. So what would you say?
For some reason, I guess a lot of people just they find it very hard to adopt that mindset.
Yeah, what?
Because it's so much more personal, right? It's not I'm doing an experiment, my experiment failed. Some people get the feeling that I tried it, I failed.
Yeah. Well, I definitely understand the mentality of those who fail and feel bad about themselves for failing, and so they don't try much harder. What do you think in your past or the way your makeup is that makes you different in that regard? Like, how do you think it came about?
I guess I was always just taught like that, right? Try something, doesn't work, try something else.
Okay.
There's no point. I mean, you either, you're willing to try and hope to succeed, or you don't, right? There's no use sort of sitting there and saying, it's tough, I got dealt the wrong hand. You just gotta find a new one.
What other areas of your life have you applied that principle? There are other times in your life.
Yeah. I try and apply it everywhere, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like this shouldn't be about just like, I'm going out now, I'm going to a club, I need to act a certain way. To me, it's a lot more than that. It's about who you are. And that's inextricable from what you do. And until you get the first part, it's really hard to be incongruent with that and just go out and say, okay, the minute I step into the doors of Attica, suddenly I'm going to become this different person and I'm going to do these things and it's all going to work.
Right.
It's...
Yeah.
Well, that old quote from Neil Strauss said, it's not just about the game, it's about building a life.
Right. It's about building a life. That's so. One part about your life is that it's the thread of success, power, soft power runs through it. Even though you're not even legal in. Are you legal in America yet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was that 2010? You're legal this year?
Yeah.
Okay, just turned legal in America. Was that? So going back, so one of the issues was when we first met at the boot camp, you were still wearing t-shirts and jeans. And then I remember for the image part of it, I was with this girl, and remember we went down to. You eventually got some things. Oh yeah. Anyway, so the store. You eventually went down to Ted Baker.
Yeah, I
got some
remember
t-shirts there and jeans. And now, whenever I see you, you're wearing jackets, and you even have a nice pocket square, and you're wearing nice accessories and so forth. And you're not doing that just to meet women.
I don't know. I dress like this all the time.
Right. So it's all the time. So with the idea that here's an idea that's been hard for me to get into the minds of some of the Academy members, which is that you change your entire life so that what you wear, the environment that you're in, the bedroom that you have, the bed even that you sleep in, if it's been dirty and there are bugs crawling on it, it's not good. Or if you're in a home environment that's just not sexy, that all in the way that you eat and what you eat and where you eat and what you surround yourself with, the way you spend your time, like your mode of transportation, will affect your psychology, will affect your self-image and your identity. So if your identity is like a surfer, then you can't be behind a computer 10 hours a day and surf once a month for an hour, right? And then try to pretend to be a surfer the rest of the time. So your whole life has been pretty congruent. Because what I thought you were just going up to Beijing to learn some Chinese, and then I found out from other people like Anthony that you were, and from yourself, that you were setting up offices, managing high net worth clients in different places and in China. And this is a responsibility that's usually given to people who are a decade or so older than you, or if not more, I assume. Right? So the idea that here's this person that I'm going to be, and sometimes it'll take time. Like some Aura members think, I can't be that person until I finish school, or I can't be that person until I get out of NS, or I can't be that person until I finally am 35 and I can leave my parents' house.
I used to be exactly like that in a lot of things. Like, I want to do it, but like I'm not going to start until I can do it right and it's all, perfect.
Okay. Right.
Anytime I wanted to learn a new skill, I'd always be waiting for something, waiting until the conditions were right. I just never get started.
Okay.
Like a personal example. Not so long ago, I put on a lot of weight when I was in Beijing. Good food,
I heard that.
easy living, yeah. And unfortunately, I realized that like how you look doesn't really matter
right.
whatsoever. I realized that I could be grossly overweight, go to a club, meet the best-looking girl, and go home with her. And that was the worst thing that could have happened for my health because I just completely let myself go. And recently, when I came back, I decided I want to get back in the shape I used to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also are able to hide it better in Beijing because with the winter weather.
Yeah, sure. But I'm like, I was like, I don't want to wait until like I've gone out and read a few books or got a plan. I just want to start making changes straight away, like step by step, make one change at a time, and then before you know it, they will add up and you're on track.
Right.
Like I said, it's more than just. It shouldn't just always be about like what do I need to do in order to get that girl to like me. It should be about turning yourself into someone who you say, wow, I'm such an amazing person because I lead a great life that I'm happy with, and that they should want to get to know me.
Right. So it's about changing your life, and you don't wait until all the conditions are set or ready. You just take action and do it. Right.
I can't remember who said this, but they said, what are you doing now, today, to turn your life into somewhere where you're the kind of person who, the kind of people you want to meet want to be with you.
Right.
Right. Small, simple steps that
build
up.
Right.